It's Tuesday, November 15th, 12 noon, and this is a call to order for the Montgomery County MUD number 60 Board of Directors meeting. We'll start with a roll call. Director Betty Doherty.
Here.
Director Donna McAleer.
Here.
Director Bob Lux is here. Director Dale Walker.
Here.
Director Mike Wise.
Here.
Thank you very much. We have a quorum. We have an agenda. Begin the meeting with the opening invocation and pledges of allegiance.
I got it.
Heavenly Father, we come to you today as an assembled body. We humbly request you bless our meeting, our community, and our nation. Help us to diligently work for the common good and in the best interest of those who we have been elected to represent. Guide us to be insightful and prudent in our intentions, visions, plans, deliberations, decisions, and their fulfillment. Work through us to provide a spirit of welcome to all in attendance, to engage in respectful and thoughtful dialogue and discussion with understanding, wisdom, and humility. Amen.
Amen.
If you wish, prior to reciting the pledges of allegiance, take an additional moment of silent prayer or additional reflection in the manner of your preference. Thank you. Pledge of allegiance to the flag. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Pledge to the Texas flag. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God,
one and indivisible.
Thank you. Okay. Agenda item number 3, do we have any comments from the public today? Nobody signed up, Shelley? We're good, thank you.
I've taken showing up at the end.
Yeah, well, Rhonda's there. You never know, Rhonda might want to say something.
That's right, she signed.
Betty's already hitting me with her cane, so I must have said something incorrect already. Okay, consider and act upon request for adjustments to or relief from the specific charges imposed by the district. Mike?
I do have one unfortunately for you. This is residential customer account number 68-7100-02. Is a large single-family residential property, 1 acre lot, 6,800 foot home. Anyway, they had a leak in their backyard. They back up to Spring Creek, by the way. Their average monthly usage for this period, which was September, is 63,000 gallons a month. Gallons in question is 525,000, which yield an adjustment of 462,000 gallons for a total credit to their account of $2,992.44.
Wow.
They do have an $1,800 repair bill for the leak, and it does qualify for.
Is it a sprinkler system leak?
It is.
To your knowledge, do they have the smart meter? Could they have seen that occurring?
They did, yeah, they do, and they did, yes.
Staff recommendation is that it complies with the policy, and we have a motion to accept.
I move. We accept it.
Okay, second, we have a motion and acceptance to accept the charge. As do we require further discussion, deliberation? Hearing none, call the vote. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed signify by saying no. Any abstentions? Motion passes. Thank you. Ouch. Okay, the consent agenda. Just for the record, I'm going to abstain from consent agenda number 5, but this is for items 5, 6, 7, and 8. Going from one-
Approve the minutes.
From,
is it
yeah,
not?
that's number 5. And from, that goes from pages 1 through 12, I believe, of the,
I
meeting packet. Yes, ma'am.
have a question about item 15, where it says that, I believe this was Mr. Stinson, that they have a preliminary PowerPoint presentation that Neil and SJRA are going to do on October the 13th. Is that projected way out into 2023 in October? Or is that a error? And it should be another date.
I don't recall. It may have been that October the 13th was correct.
But not a big deal. I just noticed it seemed like it was way out there to me.
Well, your meeting with us was on October the 18th. And maybe a lot of times I may have,
Oh, it's gonna be reviewed. I was thinking it was gonna be presented, so maybe y'all reviewed it on the
yeah,
13th. That would be.
we
the-
had a Zoom meeting on the 13th.
Okay,
with
that
U of
makes
H
that, mhm.
staff.
Is there any need for amendment to the
No.
meeting?
No.
Okay. Further discussions regarding the consent agenda? Do we have a motion to approve? I'll make the motion. Okay, Mike, and second,
I'll second.
all right, Director Doherty. Further discussions on these items? All in favor signify by saying aye. All opposed? I just abstained from item number 5. Thank you. Now to agenda item number 9. Received the San Jacinto River Authority Woodlands Division report, including update on wastewater strategic plan, update on infrastructure funding, Bear Branch Dam repairs, Bear Branch low flow vault update.
Yes, sir.
Jason, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir. I apologize, our financials came in late this month, so I put a sheet at each one of your seats for your review. As far as operationally, I don't have anything to add what's in the packet. Well, if you have any questions for me, I'm happy to answer them, or Ed has nothing for me.
The E. coli that was in wastewater treatment plant seemed rather high.
Yes, sir. It came in a little, still under
Yeah, still under.
regulatory, but came in high. We're investigating to see what may have happened that day. So far, we were doing some facility cleaning on the filters. So it's possible there was an elevated TSS that could have caused that. So far, everything else was in working order, though. Disinfection was good, and everything else was good. It's just
Okay.
cleaning aspect.
That's a mean bug, that E. coli, so you want to keep your eye on that one.
Mhm.
Regarding the financials, I have a question on page 25. The balance in debt service fund at month end of 132,000. And I see that there are payments to be made far in excess of that. Are we, Ed, Jason, are we very concerned? Are we concerned, very concerned, or outrageously concerned?
If you're talking about the arrears by the 4 entities,
Well, I'm actually just talking about on page 25, that $132,000 balance in the debt service fund.
well, the reason
That seems very low,
it is low, but that would have been because we made payment
right?
on 9/20/22, almost $25 million. And previous to that, we had an April payment of 9.36 million. So
But looking forward, when's the next payment due?
April, and it'd be an interest payment
April of
2023. And
Will,
so
will there be funds
Yes.
suitable
we
to?
replenish monthly,
Okay,
or we transfer monthly to roughly $2.9 million into the fund.
thank you.
The drought helped us on our operating balance. Just thought I'd mention that.
Noticed that on page 26, there are currently 149 joint GRP participants.
Right.
When we attended the LSGCD candidate forum over in New Caney, there were two MUDs that indicated that they wanted to join in the suit and be released, or I don't know what you'd want to call it, and participation in the GRP. Has that occurred? And does this number indicate this?
City of Splendora put us on notice that they were not going to pay the increase when it goes into effect. But we haven't heard of any MUDs stopping payments. And we haven't received any new petitions indicating somebody is joining
Mhm.
any of the litigation. Anything else on the monthly report?
Just again, I always like to talk about it, is on page 30, the accounts receivable is now at $23,547,655. Just so everyone's aware of that.
It's a few million, yes.
Yeah, we go all the way through. Um, Any other questions regarding, for Mr. Williams? Regarding the division report? We're going to get into some of the other ones here in a minute. That's just the basic. Is there more on the wastewater strategic plan other
Yes, sir.
than there?
Yes.
Okay, so I guess we'll proceed forward.
You have two handouts in front of you. One of them looks like this, which is a graph, and then the other one looks like that. First item on the strategic plan, we had a meeting. Well, we have a meeting planned for, I believe, November 29th to update all of the MUD directors of what's been occurring with the strategic plan. We've had a conversation yesterday with Metro and this morning with MUD One about postponing that meeting until early January because we have nothing new to report for November 29th. But we also know that when you look at this schedule, we have a stakeholder meeting on the 13th, which will introduce some new information. We have another stakeholder meeting on January 10th. And we're thinking that there needs to be a recap in early January to bring all the MUD directors up to speed on what's been occurring on the strategic planning. Because in the January meetings and February meetings, we're going to be talking about decisions that need to be made on the strategic plan. And we want to be able to give everybody all the information so that when it comes to the MUD meeting, you all have the information necessary to direct your trustees for them to vote in March. Originally, it was going to be advise you on January, vote February, to tell your trustee what to approve on the strategic plan going forward. We added a month more of thinking and talking and discussion with this new schedule. So we'll be asking soon when in early January would be a good time to hold this item that's in purple called the wastewater strategic plan recap.
So it's not gonna be on the 29th?
Correct.
Okay.
We will send out a notice to cancel it. So this is current schedule. This does put us, each year we prepare a project plan, a 10-year project plan of all the projects that we're proposing to go into the FY24 budget and beyond. This will caused us to scramble a little bit to get the project plan done and have it, I'll say, fully vetted internally so that you have a reasonable view of the path forward on projects. But we also know that you all need the extra months of thinking and talking about the strategic plan before a vote is made by the trustees. So any questions on schedule? Yes, ma'am.
Not on the schedule, but I was in another meeting where we were discussing a matter. And there were representatives from the MUDs. And one member said, you know, I have the authority of my MUD to vote no against this. So as I sit on this particular board, it seems like it's reversed. We're gonna make a decision about what we want presented to the MUDs on the wastewater plant.
Mhm.
And then they're gonna say, so it's not really that I would get their approval and say, I have the authority to say yes on 60. That's not the way it works, is it?
In the case of the strategic plan,
Yeah.
the stakeholders go back to their MUDs along with us,
Mm-hmm.
helping you update the MUDs on what the actions are.
Mm-hmm.
And then you would advise your trustee member
Okay.
of how you would
And
like.
they
them
make
to
the
vote.
decision
Yeah.
and, okay, got it. Thank
The
you.
difference is the Spring Creek detention planning. And it's just the way the two different projects work
Okay.
out.
All right. Thank you.
Okay. So the next handout, which is an update on the strategic plan, we were struggling to find a way to bring you all up to date on what's going on. So first sheet is repair and replacement with membrane treatment. There are two different alternatives. The first one is for wastewater treatment plant number 1. And you can see off to the right-hand side, the bright colors. That is what is proposed under the repair and placement option. It'd be membrane treatment, not conventional like what it is today. The buildings that you see would be part of a new construction. And this would be repair and replacement as things needed to occur, not all at one time. Also notice the red dashed line around the perimeter on the east side. That's the new property that we've kind of mentioned. We've talked about where it'd be easier to go in and construct new, independent of having to construct within the existing sewer plant. Easier for a contractor, easier for operations. It's not going to be less costly. It's going to be expensive either way,
Mm-hmm.
but less people on top of each other, less chance of cutting a line that needs to stay in service and having an upsell. The second one, repair and replacement with membrane up at wastewater treatment plant number 2. This would occur at some later date because this plant is newer and you can kind of see the facilities in green would occur in 2047. And then the crosshatch stuff are the facilities that would be taken out of service. So basically the footprint of the plant becomes smaller because you don't need all the various treatment basins. So with those two options, page 3 talks about the conveyance of wastewater down to plant 1. And you can see the circles with a line through it. These are 5 different lift stations that are in the system that we've identified have the potential to be removed from our collection system and made gravity so that we have less operational expense, less replacement expense of those lift stations. And the yellow line would be a new gravity line serving those lift stations, removing those lift stations and bringing the sewage all the way to sewer plant 1. So that's one of the options. The next option is 3C. This is page 4. This is where we are constructing a new wastewater treatment plant on property immediately adjacent to the existing plant in 2027. And that we have the potential at some later date, and the green again is 2047, to consolidate wastewater plant 2 at the new plant. But the directors in office at that time would have the opportunity to make that decision. And then you have 2 different gravity options, or 2 different conveyance options for that scenario. One is all gravity, and that eliminates 7 lift stations. And you can see the green line coming from sewer plant 2 all the way down to sewer plant 1. Or it's a gravity / force main option, where certain segments would be force main, certain segments would be gravity, and you would be eliminating 5 lift stations from the system. So that is one other option. Alternate 9, I don't have a page number, but it's 3 from the back.
6.
Okay, page 6. Mine doesn't have numbers on it. I'm sorry.
Way they do.
They just keep you.
Mhm.
Alternate number 9 is an option where we build a new plant adjacent to the existing plant. It's all membrane, new land. It is built in 2027, and repair and replacement of wastewater treatment plant number 2 at some date in the future, 2047. So not much difference. The directors in office at that time would have the option of whether to consolidate or just do the membranes at sewer plant 2. And that's the next page. And then conveyance option is the very last page. Same 5 lift stations to eliminate. And the yellow line would be the new gravity line that serves that area. But this is, from our last stakeholder meeting, we went from 9 options down to 4. And so these are the 4 options that we are running updated cost analysis on, looking at cost benefit, looking at net present value, looking at inflation rates, bond rates, operation and maintenance costs, and we will have numbers as part of the report that comes to you in early January. Any questions about that?
When is the next meeting? I think I know,
The
but.
next stakeholder meeting is December 13th.
Okay.
And we look forward to everybody being there. Next item is update on infrastructure funding. We're waiting for Congress to act. They have not done anything on the funding bill that has Congressman Crenshaw's project in it. So we're waiting. We knew nothing was going to happen before the midterm elections. Question is, will it happen before some of the new Congress people are seated? Bear Branch Dam concrete repairs, those were the little minor repairs that were done. Those are complete. Contractor is pulled out for under warranty. Bear Branch Dam low flow vault update. We have the drawings about complete. We've talked to the vendor that would supply the hatch. He's telling us a 15-week delivery time, and so we're going to, because it's aluminum and has to be fabricated, we're going to order it direct, have it so we can save, so that can be working concurrent with the contractor bidding the project to install the hatch. So we're trying to pick up as much time as we can by
Good move.
doing some simultaneous things.
Very clever.
But that's work going forward. And then finally, on item number 10, Spring Creek pension study. A number of the MUD directors were in a status meeting yesterday. And the decision, if you recall, there's a Birch Creek and a Walnut Creek detention. The decision was to go ahead and do the updated analysis on Walnut Creek so that we could see what the reduction of inundation would occur. And then look at the information and the cost associated with the updated Walnut Creek, because Birch Creek has already been updated. And we'll have more information at a later time.
That was $30,000, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Any questions on my 5 items?
None here. Thank you. Parties report, Katie, nice to see you.
Yes, nice to see y'all. Katie Blasio, just as a reminder, Brian apologizes. He has a fundraiser that he's at all day today, so I'm filling in for him for all these meetings. But I don't have anything specific for you under the attorney's report.
Item 12, authorize attorney to file eminent domain report with Texas Comptroller of Accounts prior to February 1st pursuant to section 2206.5154 of the Texas Government Code. Katie?
Yeah, so this is an annual administrative item that we do each year, and our firm will file it and prepare it on your behalf. And the deadline, that section of the Texas Government Code states that political subdivisions with the power of eminent domain, which this district is, and most MUDs do have that power, are required to file this annual report by February 1st of the following year with the Texas Comptroller of Public Accounts. And so this is something we do for all of our districts. So we just need that authorization to go ahead and get it started. So we submit it.
That would be in the form of a motion.
Please.
Okay. Okay, we have a motion to authorize the attorney to file the eminent domain report.
Also move.
Thank you, Director Doherty. Second?
I'll second.
Second. Thank you, Director Walker. Do we need additional discussion on this matter? Hearing none, take a vote. We have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Abstain. Motion passes. Thank you. Okay, agenda item 13, receive information on merchant service fees and consider option of passing on a portion of the fees to the fee to customers. Maureen and Jim?
This item was requested to be on the trustee agenda by one of our finance audit committee members, Paul Martin. We have encouraged over the years using electronic payments by our customers, a number of benefits to that, but it's kind of mushroomed into a pretty big expense for the MUD districts. The merchant service fees, the credit card fees is 500,000 plus. When you- all that MUDs added together.
Checks.
So the president has asked the Finance Audit Committee to kind of as an ad hoc committee, look at this topic and see if they can come back to the trustees with a couple of recommendations that might give support from the MUD districts. Just a reminder, this is a MUD district expense. It's not a trustee expense. But you've probably seen it. Other utilities, if you go in to pay, they typically now will charge you a fee to use processing fee, convenience fee.
This is only for credit cards?
Well, electronic payments could be a credit card, could be
I had to
E-check.
drain it out of my account. There's a charge too.
Yeah. Now, the e-checks is probably, I guess, the most beneficial for us. That's the least expensive. We do pay a small fee for that, but it's minimal, what, 20 or 30 cents?
Yeah, I have to verify that via the
Can
website.
you figure it, Maureen, on a pro rata basis for each MUD? Like,
Yes, we already
say
do.
MUD 1, okay,
Do it
let's
based on
get
the
3 people and we got
spot.
103, yeah, okay.
Exactly, yeah.
Anyway, you're seeing it more in the business world and even restaurants. Some restaurants are doing it upcharge for credit cards. So I think
Yeah.
the time is, appropriate to take a look at it, see what, if we can come to a consensus.
Always thought that I'm certainly not an expert on those, but I thought the idea of the paying with the credit card fee was that the recipient of the money got their money quicker, and so there was a benefit of that. And plus, the credit card fees was set out to be paid by the merchant, so to speak. And there wasn't, I thought they weren't allowed to necessarily go then pass out on to the consumer. Or am I
They
wrong?
are, we are,
You are allowed?
yes.
Was it always been allowed to pass on?
That has changed. I'm not sure when, but it's been a long time. That if you couldn't discriminate between cards, if you charge a fee, it has to be across all platforms. You can't pick favorites. That's a Visa rule. Yeah.
But, you know, the credit card industry's kind of created their own monster by giving you the, whatever it is, rewards points and this and that. Well, in reality, you know, the vendors, the merchants are paying for that benefit that the customers are getting in a roundabout way. So,
I don't know if I'd had as much problem with the credit card fee as I do. And most everybody, I think, pays electronically through a bank anymore. A lot of it, like use Quicken, and your bank pays the fee. You don't have to pay 50 cents for a stamp and all that stuff. So there's charges related, would be charged for that also.
well, we do pay a fee for that, but I think the research and what we would say is if we could get everybody to do that, that would be the desired situation. Quit using credit cards and just do e-checks or whatever they're called. But the system is not set up for that now. And it served its purpose for a number of years because it kept the manual labor that typically we would be doing. Processing a check was also, you know, an issue, but
Is a debit card, different from a credit card
I don't think
differently?
for what they charge the merchant it is, but I'm not sure.
I think it's a
I
little
think
cheaper.
it comes
Maybe.
straight out of my account like lightning. So,
Maybe
So the bank draft is an e-check, right?
That's the ACH transaction.
Yeah, it's a bank draft is an e-check. So what's really hurting us then is the Amex, Visa, MasterCard, whatever,
Mhm.
the fees associated with that.
Now, the e-check on the website, I have to check and make sure those fees, but the bank drafts that we used to initiate, those were very inexpensive. And the ACH receiver, when you're on your own bank's website and you make a payment to us, those are very inexpensive as well. So they're all ACH transactions essentially.
Zelle,
That's a good question.
like Zelle or Venmo.
You know, that's a new name, yeah, that I'm just familiar with. I don't have the answer.
Some way of transferring money.
Yeah.
Chase has, it's all across all banks too.
Yes, it's across all banks if they recognize your bank,
Yeah.
but.
And my
pays-
hunch is that's probably an inexpensive.
Yeah, my daughter
option.
pays her rent that way in Florida through Zelle.
Yeah.
So,
It's a new one for me. I've just seen it on my bank, my Chase,
Mhm.
and I've just noticed it, but I haven't.
but it's bank to bank, so
Okay.
What did you say, Darlene? I didn't hear you.
it's Zelle.
Zelle. Or Venmo, right? They're the
I haven't
same.
used Venmo, but I've used Zelle.
Use Venmo all the time.
We're about to roll out on the WaterSmart platform, all those payment options, Amazon Pay, Google Pay, Venmo, if you're on your mobile phones, that'll be available. So that's coming
Okay.
on WaterSmart.
Uh-huh.
So if you're in the portal, you can pay using those methods.
So it won't be enough charge for a fee.
That there will be a fee, what the payments that come in on WaterSmart already, it'll be the same fee structure. It's not a percentage, it's a dollar fee.
But it's right now, we're not charging the customer anything, and that's the question. Do we want to start looking at options to have the customer share some of this expense? Don't have an answer today, but we'll hopefully come to a consensus over the next couple of months to have a recommendation. And I think the objective is to drive more folks to the less expensive option.
when I paid property tax in Denton, I got behind, I used a credit card and I was charged like $250 to use a credit card. And then, so,
That's like with a casino.
yeah, well, it was so I used the credit card, which was easy for me. It was like that. They got paid, but I ended up having to pay basically the service charge.
Yeah.
Is what hit me there.
And Jeannie, well, that's by law.
We don't have
Even
a
on our
choice.
website right now, if you go on and want to pay your taxes by credit
Correct.
card, there's a fee. Because we're required by statute.
On the, yeah, this was property tax, because,
What's the same thing, that Tammy McRae's bill,
yeah.
the county? Yeah.
And
it's
this
the same
county
thing.
too has that
Mhm.
option.
Yes.
Yeah, you have to pay the
Whatever the fee.
quote unquote service fee that's associated with using the credit card to make the payment.
Right.
The only way to pay that without a fee is by check.
Yeah, that's what I was just thinking.
You
going
just
old
pay a
school.
Well, you
stamp.
have to come in and pay.
You just pay your stamp to mail
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
That's getting up.
or drive over here.
$250.
And I think the online payment, I can program on my bank to send them an e-check and they don't charge me back for that. I don't know.
Let me ask a question
It's
about
not
the,
an e-check, but there's two different things. If you set up on your bank, that they just automatically send the check.
That's a
Okay.
draft.
If you, right, if you go in on our website and you do an e-check, that means you're doing everything, there's a fee for that.
To use that functionality.
You use online bill pay is what that is. If you go on our website, it's an e-check. You're doing everything and there is a service fee for it,
For taxes.
for taxes.
For taxes, but not for the monthly,
Not the water bill.
not the water bill at this time.
So you're gonna come back with some
The
recommendations.
committee will, over the next couple of months, be looking at it.
let me ask this question. Smart Water was devised to talk to the water user about conservation and just good information about a lot of things that pertain to water. And that we've been real successful with. So if we start, I mean, it seems to me, fees are a good way to stop people from signing up for that. Is that a concern that we need to consider?
I don't think so, because that's just one option, and I think the Water Smart Portal, there still would be an option for the e-check or ACH draft, so
Yeah.
the low-cost version would still be an option on that platform.
Y'all didn't know you were gonna get to do this, huh? Isn't it fun?
Well, we're gonna have more,
It's gonna be more, huh?
there'll be, yeah, this is a work in process. The committee, the finance committee will get together and have a meeting. And obviously, if we can get any inclination by this board, it would be helpful, because I think one of the things that's essential is that everybody has to do it. Because if we have 5 MUDs doing it and 5 MUDs not doing it, it's gonna be a
Mhm.
technical nightmare, and it's gonna create a lot of ill will. And
Our
Controversy.
challenge is to come up with something that would be.
Everybody will buy it.
accepted.
Yeah.
so if you want to communicate with me prior to that meeting or prior to, what your feelings are.
I'd like to see I have no idea what the options are going to be.
Yeah.
I think the options should be in my mind, should be as easy as you can on the people that are paying the bill. So you don't have to raise any more than you have to, and give them, if you can give them an option to pay that's good for you and no fee, then they gotta, and that, even if that's a stamp, that's easy to figure, but if you just give them, say, you're gonna have to pay $3 more or $4 more every month in your bill, a lot of people are gonna say, well, you've been absorbing that fee forever, what changed? So you're really raising your prices is what you're doing.
And it would not be on the water bill. It would be at the time the transaction was made.
So if you come in here and pay it, is there gonna be, you'll have to take that kind of payment option into consideration in the overall picture. Okay.
And if you force people to come in there and pay so they don't have to pay a fee, and you're gonna have a raise prices in here first.
You have to
Doing
put
that.
We'll have to hire more people.
Yeah.
You have to put
Yeah.
a kiosk outside in the drive-through.
We did consider that.
It's a complex problem.
Yeah.
And, you know, we do have a very, I don't know that it's unique anymore, but just accepting the facts, we have a pretty diverse community. We have a lot of people with second homes and we have a lot of people that travel a lot. And so on and so forth. People are working either home or away or what have you. So the mere fact of just being able to, you know, say you're gonna come in and pay your bill, that's not gonna work.
Mm-mm.
You know, that's,
Mm-mm.
that's unrealistic. So the committee will handle it. We'll come back but if you have any individual points of view that you want expressed to the finance committee, just let me know.
And it'll be a few months. I got the clear signal that they weren't gonna work on this over the
Mhm.
Christmas and Thanksgiving and Christmas and New Year's break, so it's gonna be a month or so.
You certainly don't want to accept crypto,
Bitcoin.
right?
Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Well, Bitcoin's the only stable one. Stable.
Okay, thank you. Discussion act on resident year-end information message. Jim, I can be. At the-
This topic was brought up at, I know in the
Public Education.
Education Committee, and I think it's gonna be discussed at the MUD 47 meeting on their agenda this evening. Couple of the MUDs over the years have done kind of a year-end notice to the residents, hey, here's kind of where we are, what we've done over the past 12 months. And MUD 47 has an interest in doing that, and it was discussed, and I think we agreed to put it on this particular MUD's agenda to talk about it. So I think our recommendation would be if we have a number of MUDs that would like to do something like this, which is probably worthwhile, is to try to come up with a template that we could use for the MUDs that would be a standardized template to get whatever information the directors would like.
So it wouldn't be
Communicated.
unique to the MUD then, but you know,
Well, it would be, the plan would be, it would be the
there's a
MUDs.
section that we could make it unique to this
And it would
MUD.
be individual messages, not a uniform message, individual MUD message
Template of the presentation.
I got you.
is the template would be standardized in some
Okay.
way.
This, as Jim mentioned, this came up at the public education meeting. And this is, we're attempting and we're to satisfy the comment that we continually hear is, who are you and what do you do and why are you doing it and what have you done? So we're trying to present as much information as we possibly can. And the director from MUD 47 made this suggestion, and it was agreed upon as perhaps being something that needed to be explored and beneficial.
What kind
to-
of stuff would say MUD 60 think about? What would you say? Would
I
be
would
something
say-
we'd put on there?
The SJRA projects that have been that are ongoing and that are planned.
Mhm.
And again, the AMI
Mhm.
and I guess
The Bear Branch Dam
Bear
repair.
Branch Dam,
Mhm.
very good example.
Mhm.
Yes, Research Forest
They don't know that's happening.
project, yeah. And don't understand why it
Mm.
needs to happen,
Mhm.
understandably so.
I think
So-
it's a great idea. I think people need to know more, and I think it helps them understand, you know, all they do is complain about the cost of their water. And I think it'd be
We have two very talented people on the committee, John and Flewellen, Tori Flewellen, excuse me, journalists, and they're very accomplished at writing and presenting ideas succinctly. So those are tools that are available that will be utilized to make this a readable document. So saying that, I mean, is there a consensus? Is
What
it a
about-
good idea, bad idea, thumbs
it's
up?
would we
thumbs
deliver
down?
it through the mail or from the,
That's yet to be determined. The
Mail is
most
gonna be a pamphlet.
cost-effective way is to do it through e-blast
Mhm.
and through electronic. But
that
in the
cuts out a
past,
lot of people,
Not
doesn't
everyone,
it?
they don't always read their.
right,
electronic.
in the past, a couple of MUDs have chosen to send it out via snail mail. So that's to be
Well, it's more
determined, I
like a
guess.
Christmas card. you
Could
know.
it be in their last bill in December or January?
Is
you know,
that probably more difficult to put the letter in the bill than it
They'll
is to,
still open their bill.
yeah,
They'll find it.
I don't know. Is that,
No, we can do inserts
Oh, you
into the
do?
water bill,
okay,
but we don't have everybody that gets a water bill. You know,
Oh.
it may end up being a combination of water bill, electronic. Those will be the two most cost-effective ways.
Mhm. Do we have to make a
Thumbs up.
motion
No, just-
now?
no,
or
no,
did you-
just,
these are Just all things. for
Just
us to
the thing
think
that,
about?
but unless somebody just says, we're not doing it, you know?
Well,
Probably a good idea.
Uh,
Can't hurt anything.
It's a better idea than it's a bad idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and so is there anything that we
May not be
need to do
perfect.
to get to John, in our information?
That's,
I mean, this is the last
Yeah.
time we'll meet before, I mean, I don't know when we meet in December, but that would be a little short turnaround if we meet, say, December the 13th, and we're supposing, unless
I
we
don't
make
know,
it a happy
maybe
New
we
Year
won't,
letter.
maybe it'll just be in the first quarter of 23.
That's what I would guess. By the time we get something standardized and kind of
Uh-huh.
get drafts and everybody look at it, would be the first
Be
quarter.
like a
Yeah,
year in
Happy New
review,
Year.
have a year in review
Oh,
and have it
yeah.
in January.
Yes, I think December, just a number of the MUDs are choosing not to meet in December because it's the same week as Christmas, so we wouldn't have a chance to visit with you then. So we're looking January, February, I think.
Mhm.
Well, it solves the religion problem, you know, how you express your holiday season. So, yeah, I think that solves a lot of
Well, a year
problems.
in review and a year you can look forward to.
There you go. I like that.
Very well said. Mhm.
I missed that. What was that?
A year in review and a year you can look forward to. So
Good idea.
projects that we're envisioning coming up.
And
This is what we did the
and
last 12
issues
months.
and topics.
Issues
Yeah,
and topics.
yeah, that's good. That's really good.
Mhm,
And roll them both together.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, excellent. Thanks. I don't know that we required action there. I think we got the action we needed. Receive the general manager's report,
Okay.
page 68.
Just want to emphasize that during the trustee meeting, we had Arthur Breederhoff, who was selected by Woodlands Water Agency trustees, come and give a brief presentation on his activities at Region H. We have a little summary in your packet on that. I also reported that I received a request from the Remax Realtor Group here in the Woodlands to come visit with them regarding the new newspaper story and I think TV story regarding subsidence in the U of H press release. So I kind of summarized my meeting with them in here. And I guess the takeaway for me was that the Woodlands, is doing its part to mitigate subsidence. There's no doubt subsidence is a countywide documented issue, but with the introduction of surface water in 2016, we have seen subsidence be mitigated to a large degree, and we hope to continue that effort, especially with a 50-50 blend, to see that it may further improve. So that was an important meeting to attend. I've also been asked to present to the Grogan's Point Resident Association in December. Ed will be joining me to make a presentation to that group. Also reported, we had staff attend the Sterling Ridge Village Association barbecue cook-off, a Cochran's Crossing Village Association festival, October the 22nd, 23rd. We had booths there and handing out our giveaways for the kids and the customers. So always nice to be able to attend those events. We also presented a summary of our automated metering infrastructure project that's in your packet. We had a request to kind of summarize where we are on that. So take a look at that. I think the original document that went out, there were some clarifications requested. So what you have is one with some highlighted yellow items that were additions to what the original version was. Just a reminder, December 12th, we will be meeting with the San Jacinto River Authority staff, our financial advisors regarding potential impacts to bond funding. Their critical infrastructure renewal projects that we can be highlighted in our year-end or yearly report. That we know that if we bond fund those over a series of years, that what we want to consider doing is a line item on the water bill that covers that debt service. So what is that going to look like? And we'll try to start getting a better picture of that. And then 2 compliment emails are in your packet, one on one of our staff members and one for me. So nice to get those. And that concludes my report.
Thank you. I'd like to take a minute to just again compliment Jeannie Scott on 26 years of service, October 5th. It's not a 0 or a 5 anniversary, but it's pretty impressive nonetheless. Thank you for keeping your pick in the ground for 26 years on our behalf. You do a fine job, you and your staff. Let's see, where are we? You've rolled the trustees report in there, Jim. Anything more on that?
I think I covered most of the items. I think so.
So too. Fees, yeah, we got it all. If anybody has any questions, yes, sir.
I wanted to bring up, I don't see it in here, last month, there was a young lady here, and
Yes.
we need an update on what.
I was wondering if.
You know what?
Bonnie.
Glad you brought that.
I got her information after the meeting and the phone number and address. And matter of fact, I just called her today. And I got a message. I didn't get through to her, but I apologize. I dropped the ball. I intended to follow up with her the week after the MUD meetings and just fell through the cracks. But I did leave her a nice message this morning, apologizing for the delay, but still wanted to visit with her. But I haven't heard back yet. So more to come.
She's gonna be spreading a lot of venom unless we get to her and find out what's going
Yeah,
on.
we will. I did make the phone call and I'll make sure I follow up and get
Well, I
connected.
noticed in the notes that the comment was about chloridane. I'm not, is that the same thing as the chlorine she was fussing about?
Dane is, and that's bad stuff.
That's what people used to put when they were treating their foundation before they built a home to kill.
Well, that's what's in the minutes, and I just thought maybe it was another word for chlorine.
Contaminate her water.
I hope not.
So maybe
I
that's a,
think that's a spelling error, I hope. 'Cause what I heard her was complaining about the chlorine smell.
that chlorine
Yeah,
smell,
yeah.
but the word that she used is
Yeah.
chloridane.
And
And
no,
he got that, I circled it, and I just thought it was another name for that, for chlorine probably.
No, it's a different, it's a chemical.
Uh-huh.
you can't even get it anymore.
Well, and
You used to be able to, we used to use it on the farm.
Yeah.
But no more.
I should have said I had more questions on the minutes before we said we approved it. There, so we really probably should change that, right? I mean, that would be,
She said.
We don't want-
I don't remember her
she
saying.
said chlorine, yeah.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
Because there
Which
was
is at the end of the line. I thought we would determine there were some odors that we had issues with end of line homes and end of line before with. Correct, unless we
Flush.
flush that out.
Yeah.
And that's what our initial thought was, I think.
And she, if I remember correctly, she's in the middle of a street. She's not up on the end of a line, so that.
That doesn't.
She mentioned it in the line. I do remember that.
Mhm.
But there's also, if you have an older hot water heater, it can create hydrogen sulfide.
Oh.
And it can create all sorts of problems. So if it's a old hot water heater that's not heating sufficiently or properly, it can create a lot of problems too.
Mike, didn't you say you had looked into this before?
Yeah,
In
she
the
had
past,
called
she's a
before,
regular?
Several years ago.
Yeah,
I didn't recognize her name, didn't know where she lived. We looked it up, she's right in the middle of the block. Not at the dead end line, not at the end of the line. Just very sensitive, I guess.
Nothing from either neighbor.
There's got to be maybe something in her home and
That's why
I've
Yeah.
never heard of that before.
Yeah, depends on your water quality. But you can get all sorts of funky odors, because when the sediment builds up in the tank, it's sitting there baking, basically. That's when you hear the popping.
Yeah.
You know, you use the hot water, and then what happens is that the burner is going through whatever mineralization there is there, and it'll go pop, right? And if it's past 5 or 6 years, the anode that you put in there, that's probably gone. So, yeah, it can create all sorts of odd things. And then the vent has to be done properly, you know, because it vents out.
Sure.
You have to vent the carbon monoxide out. So there's a lot of maintenance on hot water heaters that create problems. I'm just saying, if it were me, I'd be looking at that.
And we do get those calls routinely and help customers get that figured out.
Yeah, you should maintain you should drain part of your hot water heater at least once a year.
You know why people do that?
Well, they're in the attic. People don't like getting up there.
Yeah.
Well, in Midland, we had it in the garage, so it was very easy.
Easy to do.
You just hook up a hose, you turn it down to pilot, and you open the garage door and you let it go, and you would be amazed what comes out of there.
A lot of salt, I would imagine.
Silt.
Saltiest water I ever drank.
All sorts of things in Midland, but if you do it here, you'll get a little bit of calcium carbonate, and it fluctuates around the silt. But you got to keep going until the water's clear. You know?
Then you have to flush it, don't you? You have to close the valves and-
You can turn it on and off to stir it up. But you gotta be careful. If it's electric, you gotta you gotta go to the breaker, shut it off. And if it's gas, you gotta go to pilot, because you don't want it to burn up the element. So you can hire a plumber, but
You too.
yes, they do very well.
One thing I always wondered since I moved here, since you mentioned about being in the garage,
Yeah.
whose bright idea was to put water bombs over your head? down
I
there?
know, exactly.
Water bombs.
The
I mean-
entire woodlands.
Yeah, I mean, I
Well,
never
it's-
seen
yeah.
anything like it.
It's for pressure.
Yeah, but.
Yeah, I know. But what happens is it's out of sight, out of mind, and people don't maintain them.
Right,
Yeah.
And,
Plus, they're a lot harder to maintain up in the
They
air.
are. You gotta climb up
You
there.
Goes out, and drain it out on the, on your driveway or whatever it may be.
or the second floor tub, you bring it
Yeah.
in, but you gotta watch it until it clears, until it goes clear.
Is that your?
That's it, that's-
Yeah.
Do that.
Well, I've had one go,
A few years.
I've had one blow,
Yeah.
and water was coming down the stairs and out the front door.
Oh, yeah, man, you do maintain it, I bet.
It was in Dallas. I've lost one in
Plano,
Midland.
Near
Yeah.
Dallas, but the water heater was in
Yeah,
the
I'm sitting
hallway,
right now.
not in the
13
attic.
years old, and I'm
At least so it was flooding the hallway.
Yeah, you lost the
wondering,
floor and
should I get up
sheet
there and
rock
replace
and.
those?
13 is about to the
Cost some
limit.
butt down there.
Are they electric or gas?
Yes.
I'll tell you what, Wolfhagen Plumbing, who's been around here a long time, told me, place it every year regardless, every 10 years regardless.
Yeah.
Mhm.
He said, then you won't ever have what you have. Hopefully,
That's probably.
water running down the stairs.
It's up, Mike.
Well, I've been, it's been back up here, and I just was up in there 2 days ago and looked at the date on there when, oh yeah, this is 2009.
Is it open for you?
I'll be darned. Time flies.
Yeah.
Very good,
New water
very
heater.
good. Let's see.
Uh,
Katie, are we gonna
You're gonna follow up on
recess
that,
Yes,
to
yes.
close it? Are we through with everything with the GM and the trustees? We're done, right?
Mhm.
Okay. Um,
No need for
close the session. No, thank you. Any matters for placement on future agendas with this?
Gonna discuss that,
Put the lady back on the future agenda to follow up on
Yeah.
next week or next month.
Will do.
About December meetings, wanna talk about them?
What?
December
The
meeting?
number, well, I think all of our MUDs up to this year have decided not to have the December meeting. Because it's the same week as Christmas and,
we're not having a December
well,
meeting.
it's up to the MUD.
Yeah,
Yes.
I mean,
When is it
Your meeting
again?
is supposed to be on the
20th.
20th.
and,
Going anywhere?
well, I moved my departure to the 21st, so I'm okay. I know that you're gonna
I'll
be,
be out of
gonna
town.
be here.
Yeah, I'll be here.
Well, I don't know, is there need to have the meeting? I mean, if,
Here's what we would like to recommend. It looks like we're on a path for most MUDs not to meet. So we might just say that we would recommend that we all defer. If something comes up where it's needed, we'll certainly let you know and post the meeting.
Because if we meet, you gotta do all this paperwork for 1 month.
That's right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I hear that.
Yeah,
the
if there's
only
no
mud
pressing
meeting.
issue, I don't.
That we put on December agendas, unless there's something specific going on in the district, but no
Mhm.
annual housekeeping items or anything. We push all those to a long January agenda.
So how would we, just communicate that, you know, if
We
there
don't
is
know.
no,
No meeting. In the event something happens and we need you to meet or other MUDs, we've kind of left
Okay.
it that we would notify the board in as much advance as we could. We don't anticipate that happening, but, you know, could.
I think we've illustrated that we would be able to have a quorum. So,
I've had 2 other meetings.
yeah, so that's fine. I guess either we will or will not, depending upon need.
I think the recommendation would be not to put it on your calendar, but if something changes, we would let you know.
Fair enough. Very good. No other further business. I'll close this meeting. Adjourn.
All in favor, say aye.
All in favor? Aye.
Thank you for providing all the references. The references, thank you for the